Welcome, welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for today. I cannot tell you. And I know that we'll be letting people into the Zoom room for the next couple of minutes. But I wanted to say hi and thank you and tell you how excited I am for today, because the influence of rituals is just profound. And Amy and I were talking before we jumped into this meeting, and it's expansive. What we're going to touch on, what Amy's going to touch on today, is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much wisdom to be gleaned from what is being shared today, and I cannot wait for Amy to share her wisdom. So, welcome to Soul Channel and Rituals Through Resilience. As you know, Soul Channel is a place for seekers to cultivate clarity, grow, and learn. So we raise consciousness, normalize spirituality, and change the world. That's the objective. And we change the world through changing ourselves. And today I'm honored and delighted to share some time with Amy Smith. She is a co-founder of Embodiment LLC, which is an integrative practice uniting health and body psychotherapy by providing corporations and individuals with tools to evolve. Amy is also the director of social change, equity, and inclusion for Evo Sports Collective, an organization that meets at the intersection of sports, consciousness, and social change. Amy and Evo are currently supporting the Run Richmond event. So if you can get down there, do it. It's not to be missed. It's founded and hosted by the Jimon Hansu Foundation, and it's celebrating unity and diversity and universal healing. And they truly are doing universal healing at the deepest soul level. So here's how today is going to go. I'm going to drop us in. We're going to ground and bring ourselves into the present moment. And then I'm going to let Amy share her wisdom with all of you. You ready? Let's do this. Gently close your eyes or lower your gaze as is most comfortable for you. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth as you ground into this very present moment. Feel your feet on the floor as you anchor into our mother planet, into our earth. Feel her gently cradle you. And then as you expand into the heart, feel the universe open and embrace you with laughter, play, and joy. Feel as it envelops you in love. Bring yourself to this very present moment and take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth as you ground, center, and expand to receive not only the wisdom that Amy will share, but the energy codes and the consciousness quantum fields that will ride on the wisdom of the word and infuse your energy systems with the potential for transformation and growth. And with this tremendously powerful blessing, I call us into the present moment. And so it is. And welcome.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank
Oh,
you, Amy.
I'm so excited to be here. I can hardly contain myself. Um, and I just wanted to mention before we get started that what brought us here to this moment is our latest venture as Earth and Air Creations. And so everything that Teresa described, it's a lot of what we're doing, but Earth and Air Creations is how we came into feeling into this resilience through ritual event that we're having here today. Thank you. Um, and it's really interesting when we start talking about ritual and how it connects us all. Sometimes we take that for granted, something as simple as singing happy birthday and lighting candles on the day of someone's birth. Last night, Azana, who's on this call, is my co-founder. We did a small new moon ritual to set an intention for it to blossom through the next 2 weeks to the full moon. Rosh Hashanah begins at sundown tonight. So we're surrounded by rituals every day. And we often look outward to some of those events without looking and really feeling that connection inwardly. And this, to me, is the power of creating consistent rituals for self. I think we're more familiar with something like routines or habit building. And while those are effective, for me, it misses the celebration. And rituals are more of a mindful, present, connected celebration of self with a capital S. And having that celebration of self, connecting to our deepest wisdom with compassionate and loving consistency, can really change our lives. And the geeky part of me really likes to delve into the science, but I won't get into the nitty gritty of all of it here. But the gist of it is that these practices change the neural pathways in your brain. Your brain becomes more flexible and can be trained to work for you rather than against. So if you feel like you're in a rut, you're not feeling well, have a melancholy disposition, kind of feeling that life is, a glass half empty, the world is against me, we actually have the power to change that. Um, and with changing it from the negative bias to the positive doesn't mean it's always perfection and constant sunshine. It's more about that bounce back, that resiliency into a more productive, a more positive than not mindset, and making choices that serve your highest self more consistently than not. So this is never about perfection. It's never about right or wrong. It's about allowing that grace for these things to really help us move through life and creating the life with the universe and creating into a space where we really want to be. Giving our sense of purpose, our sense of power, our sense of intention. And so for me, I like to say that rituals are a ceremonial practice for self. And how does resilience come into play? I think you probably might have guessed that by this point. Um, but everything and everyone has a resilience gradient. You may hear about it, when the Fed talks about the economy, communities, cultures, religions, businesses, organizations, the forest, our seas, and so on. They all have a resilience gradient. And so for today, for this purpose, we're talking about our individual resilience gradient and how that impacts the resiliency of everything else around us, our collective resilience. And so we talk a lot about that self-empowerment and what that means, but how does that impact anything else? I mean, obviously it impacts our life. And why does our collective resilience matter? Well, it matters quite a deal, quite a big deal. And we're often in our bubbles, and don't really recognize those impacts. And which is another important part of our community, is to really feel that interconnection with one another. And today is also happens to be the 1 year anniversary of the death of Masa Amini. The men and the women of Iran has said to us, and we know through personal acquaintances and friends and our brothers and sisters, that it matters. It matters when we're standing together. They say that if you go onto social media, they say to keep sharing it, and in addition to putting our actions behind our words, but to know that they're not alone. And when we put our words and practices into action for support of any shift, everything starts with us. If we want to shift into a new paradigm, a new reality, a new unit of existence, a new life, a new well-being practice, a new anything, it begins with our journeys, our own work, our own evolution. And it doesn't mean it's static. It doesn't mean that you must attain enlightenment to take action, not in the least. And as the movie title goes, it's everything everywhere all at once. So our rituals help us along this journey, building this resilience, changing our very being to our very core, connecting with something that is deep within us and outside of us into this universal knowing, this connection, this interconnection. I mean, it sounds like it's a lot. And it's like, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? But it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be super, super simple. And it all starts with our breath, as with life itself. And Teresa did such a beautiful job of centering us into this moment, of beginning this journey together in this hour. This is the foundation of it all. And our breath has the power to create calm, to energize, to get into flow, to gain perspective, to respond versus react, and just simply allow. And so here I'd like to invite you to be a little mindful and take another breath with me, closing your eyes, really feeling how your body feels in this space, in this moment. Perhaps you feel an area of tension, of feeling unwell, being stressed. Maybe you feel joy and celebration. Just slowly and deeply breathe into that space, landing and noticing, releasing any judgment. Allowing this presence to be. Notice what comes up and just take note. And take a moment to send love to yourself, to that part, to whatever comes up. Remembering, loving, and feeling that kindness to self. Take another deep breath, integrating this energy. Opening your eyes and coming back to the room. Connecting and reconnecting. And notice how you feel. And this is the power our breath has. That was a tiny pause in the middle of the day, in the middle of this gathering. And starting our day with breath work gives us, our nervous system, our brains, our souls, a platform from which to be. And coming back to this breath, like we did just now, whether it's in time of need or stress, feeling extreme emotion, sadness or anger, overwhelm, joy, exercise, meditation, all of it allows us to reconnect from that in which we started. A tool to remember, giving us a pause and an opportunity to attend to our needs at that time. Mm. And as Earth and Air Creations, Zana and I were inspired to create this embodied energy and tools to feel into that energy and to remind us to be in that moment, to create our own rituals around them. Our breathing beads, for example, were born from this desire to deepen our sensory experience, to take our minds out of it, releasing that monkey mind and that activity and feeling the energy, the shapes, the connection to nature to further enhance our practice. Our community, us included, carry these as a physical reminder for all the goodies and the benefits that I just mentioned. And for me personally, I'm a very tactile and visual learner. For me to see reminders and carry powerful tools with me helps me to further deepen those practices, which then furthers my awakening and my journey. And I've also been recently inspired to use them in other ways. They were born from that sense of taking the count out of breathing practices. But, I tend to get inspiration at wee hours of the morning, like I think we all do. And as I was writing my morning affirmations, I started to embed that energy into those beads. I'm like, well, of course, that just makes sense for me because I do carry them around. I have them with me now. And so now I started using them as a multi-purpose tool. And so in addition to my breathing practice, I began to use them, as I just mentioned, for the affirmations and the other rituals that I like to practice. And so when I wrote my intention this morning, which I wrote, my intention for today is to serve my community from the deepest kindness part of my being. And with that, I read it again to myself and I embedded into the beads to remind me in those times of kerfuffles and things that come up during the day to come back to that, to come back to my breath, to come back to my affirmations, to come back to my intentions. And I love feeling the beads. I love coming back to these rituals and reminding myself through the day that this is what I intended for myself. This is what I'm co-creating with the universe. Like wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, helps me integrate all that I want in this co-creation. And as Teresa mentioned, we were chatting before this gathering at like the possibilities of all of us coming together, sharing our wisdom, sharing our gifts, and expanding this consciousness into a new norm. Having this elevation of unitive consciousness connecting us all and supporting one another. Honoring everything that's around us, nature from which everything is born and connected with, enriching and expanding our communities. I mean, this community that we see on this call, and for those that will be listening later, this is what it's all about. And we get all excited. And I know we see each other in different circles, but putting this action into our words is such a beautiful sense of purpose. Our collective consciousness, expanding this into our oneness. And then at the end of the day, I like to write my gratitude that I have. It doesn't have to be a set number. Sometimes it's just one thing that really stands out to me. Sometimes it's a whole list of things. And I tend to, if I feel like it was a more of a challenging day than an inspiring day, I write more. And that brings me back to that place of really feeling that deep, deep sense of gratitude for just being and for all the blessings that I have in my life, in my relationships, in my daily interactions, the beautiful nature in which I live, and sending that gratitude and those blessings back outward. Ah, I know I've been talking a lot, and this is unusual for me, actually, because I like to expand the circle into a little more interaction. And so I'd like to open up the space now for thoughts and curiosities and questions and discussion. So let me take my pause here and open it up to you. How are you feeling in this moment? What thoughts and curiosities are occurring? How's your being? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really grateful for the simplicity of your presentation and for your sharing. I feel so touched and inspired to reach that place in myself again. I recently had a huge challenge, almost dying from a bee sting of all things, and I've really been feeling like the universe is a challenging place for me. But I know that when I open myself up beyond that feeling or the interpretation of fear and connect with a deeper part of myself, which does require a certain degree of ritual of just going beyond that thinking, that restricted thinking mind of looking from a perspective of it's that primitive part of the brain that's always on the lookout for something that's going to happen. When I move beyond that space, which you're talking about here, there is such a beautiful release and a feeling of connection with all that is, with all the love there is. So thank you for inspiring me to feel that and acknowledge that place in myself. Thank you.
You, Lou, and it's good to see you home.
Thanks.
It's good to see you here with us.
Great to be here.
Yeah, and thank you for your wisdom. You know, everything that I know you from other circles, and everything that you always share is very profound and inspirational to me. And I know the people in these circles will say the same thing. I appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Yeah, and feel the big hugs that we're wrapping around you. Mm.
Lou, I'm so happy to see you moved yesterday to today from your bed back to your desk.
Yeah.
I think, Amy, you said something about the kind of learner you are and how appreciative of that you are. And I feel like I'm very much a learn by touching and feeling and seeing, much more than thinking. And so I guess the biggest message I got from you, and I've been getting all week, is the profound impact of being alive in a conscious way, in a loving way, and really honoring that, so that, I keep thinking a lot about all these immigrants and people coming to New York. And the brain part says, like, well, how could New York City spend $300 per person per day coming here? That's like crazy. There's been over 100,000 people come this year. And what can I give? Do I need to find more blankets, more coats, more whatever? And what keeps coming back is this message that I'm hearing today, that the greatest gift I can give myself is also the greatest gift I could give at this time on the planet. And that if you could hand anyone you love a tool for a collapsing system, it would be this gift to know how to find inside the connection to the outside in a way that creates more resilience, in a way that connects, in a way that is restorative, and in a reciprocity that hasn't been honored in most of the teachings I grew up with. And so yesterday I listened to some forest bathing man talk about the seventh sense of, from how you breathe through your skin out to the world, and how spending so much time on Zoom and places like that, these other parts of us, they didn't go away. They need, go out there and just start touching stuff, And when you talked about, I forget what you called it, but I know as a body worker, when I work on people and they're so messed up, I get really excited because I feel like there's just so much there.
Yeah.
And that's the gift. It's labeled on one shelf, but it's really been mislabeled. And it's really this power. And so, there are some people, when you touch them, that it's like, ooh, not much here of anything, and I've stopped judging that as well, because it's something I don't really know what that means. My think it's like, oh, they got 1 foot out the door, or 2 feet out the door, and holding on by a finger. But who knows? I don't know that really. And so, yeah, learning to kind of honor. I don't know if it was last week, I don't even remember time anymore, but I had one day where nothing worked. I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted. I couldn't eat. Nothing. I didn't want anything to eat. I didn't want to go anywhere, do anything. I had lists and lists of things to do. And no matter what I tried, I just couldn't settle and arrive in a healthy way. And it was really scary. I hadn't felt that in many, many, many years. And it was like there was this pressure on me to just give up. So just kind of, haha, I got you. You're stuck, And I remember that from college, and somebody had taught me this prayer, in the name and power of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave. I command all evil to leave, and I said that prayer from 50 years ago. And it worked, it broke the ice. And then I sent out an email to the 5 people in my original cohort from 4 years ago, just saying, please pray for me. I'm in trouble. I need help. I don't know why. And then after I was embarrassed, I sent such a thing. And I sent a follow email, just asking you guys for help has worked. And before I finished that email, the phone rang, and one of the people literally called me. And, nowadays somehow it feels rude to call someone without pre-planning it. So I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I love you. Thank you.
Oh, Mary Beth, much love to you. And thank you for sharing. You brought up so much wisdom and so many beautiful points. And I just want to take a moment and honor you for bringing in that ritual into your moment of need. Whether it was a prayer from 50 years ago, or something that a mantra that you learned yesterday, you did it. And you had the vulnerability and the courage to ask for help. And that's a big part of what we're creating. You know, this community, this evolution, you're going to make me cry, of just being together. And this is how we shift, and this is how we change our world by changing ourselves. You know, we're creating it right now in this moment. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I have to also say I've been giving myself this gift, and next week or whenever starts the next cohort, and as a leader, so this morning when I was supposed to be meditating, instead this thought came like, give them that gift, that at the beginning of the commitment of a new season, a new year, to take 1 hour a week and schedule it in to just randomly explore the platform in some new way, you know, whatever way works for you, and just put that hour in there as a bonus gift for yourself. And so I did that last night with your website, and I guess I went to Instagram by mistake, I thought, and I just reveled in the red of your barn and the like, the just different pictures of the stuff that I would love to touch. It touched me just visually. And one of the sayings on there somewhere was about waste not being time wasted is not time wasted, or whatever. I don't know what the wording was, but it was like, when you consciously choose whatever it is you're doing, it's a gift. So to consciously choose to go explore your Instagram pictures, you know, as a visit, it just warmed my heart in so many ways. And then I was like, oh, wow, look what time it is. I went way over the hour, you know. Thank you. I love your website for this business.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary Beth. And that really warms my heart to know that you've felt that energy. You know, that's what we're all here to do and to be. So thank you for honoring that. I appreciate that. And I would love to have you come and touch the barn. And anything else around here, all of you. Teresa and I were talking about that too. How do we make these things happen?
Yeah.
Because it is powerful.
Well,
yeah, how do we put this into a live event so that we can actually hug and hold and be present with each other? I think that's another intention that we've put into the universe. Thank you, Mary Beth. There was so much wisdom that you shared. And I want to honor you for the self-love that you displayed in and self-care, because that takes courage. You know, transformation isn't this linear graph, right? It's whoosh. I mean, it just goes everywhere. And knowing what are the tools that I need to transform the experience into the opportunity. And it reminds me of being in corporate. I'd go hide in the bathroom. You know, that was my way of taking time and taking a breath. And I want to go back. Amy showed you briefly, but these breathing beads are just one of my favorite tools, because I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by touching and doing, similar to what Amy shared. So for me, having these in my hands and going through mantras or setting intentions or anchoring gratitude, for me, expands the energy. It opens and it brings it into a larger platform. So I can't, and they mean so much that I have given them to my family, to friends, to my clients.
No.
because I know that the energy that's contained within them and the power of transformation that they can bring.
Yeah. I love that. And it make, and it just, Azana's on this call too. She is the other half of Earth and Air Creations, and just such a brilliant addition to this soul consciousness, but she's a little bit shy. Um, and she's nodding in agreement. But her beautiful wisdom and energy and inspiration, paired with mine in this beautiful setting that we're surrounded by, that's what we want people to really feel, to connect to. We spend our time here in New York City, and in the city, I love the city, but at the same time, I miss that connection to nature a bit, and so that was a big part of our inspiration of creating these embodied energy products for our rituals, for our daily living, for, we created it for us, and then decided to create a business around that. And, it's been such a beautiful journey and experience. And so, Teresa, when you say that you share them with all of your loved ones and your clients and everything else, that just fills me with so much joy, because it's expanding that consciousness. It's expanding that connection to nature, to ourselves, to something that we want to see shift in the world. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. It's an honor for me to be able to access something that has such a deep meaning.
Yeah.
And like Mary Beth said, connecting you to nature. I mean, just that statement in and of itself. When you look at the Japanese culture, and they are advocates for forest breathing, just getting into the woods. I know that's a place of regenerative healing for me. And then I get to put it in my pocket and take it everywhere with me. Or it sits on, actually, there's several that sit on my desk and hold sacred objects. So thank you.
Our pleasure. And I wanted to go back to Mary Beth, what you were saying about the cohort. And I just wanted to clarify for those who aren't a part of the inner MBA. That's what Mary Beth was referring to. And this is a program where many of us have met and connected. And within, Teresa holds a trust circle, and I hold a healing circle. And this is the culmination of all of it, basically.
Yeah.
And prior to that, it was through a conscious business organization. And so it's like, I love when we're open and we connect into ourselves and allow that connection to expand outwards, where those paths lead us. And it's like, and this is the culmination of all those moments, which I just so deeply love, and it just gives me such amusement. I don't know why, but it really amuses me so much. It's like, this is so cool that this has all led to us being right here, right now, all together. Whether we're on the screen now or if you're watching this later, and finding those programs are similar to finding those rituals. Finding those support systems, those people, those organizations, the communities that support your true evolution and growth, your healing journey, your journey to whatever it is that you want to co-create with either the universe or God, or whatever you want to use that in that term, your highest self, whatever that is for you. This is an exemplary example of that, of finding those people and everything else to really come together in this interconnected life that we're living, and awakening to that. And it's just, I have such an honor of being here with each one of you, and each one of you that's seeing this recording. The energy transfers, and if you're not here in real time, it doesn't matter. You are still receiving this and receiving our blessings, receiving our connection, and receiving our intentions. And so I just wanted to clarify when Mary Beth mentioned the Inner MBA, which is a fantastic program, by the way, but I don't work for them.
It's personal experience, right?
Yes, it's personal experience. And in Teresa, I think you're a really good example of that too. You started at the beginning of the cohort, so this is the 4th year, and you've been there all 4 years, and this will be my 3rd. And Mary Beth, I think you were there from the beginning too, I believe. But that it doesn't matter. But the point is to find that Sounds True puts on a lot of good stuff, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And just supporting that it's so important. And I also want to honor you again, Mary Beth and Lou, for that vulnerability, and to ask and receive. Receiving is just as big as asking. And that is something what you alluded to earlier, Mary Beth, we're not conditioned to do. We haven't come up in the cultures, and for the most part, not all of us, of course, but we haven't come up in those families, cultures, conditions to be that because of many, many reasons. And so coming back to shifting our reality, our lives, and co-creation into something new, this is a big part of it. And so, being here together, exploring different rituals. And Nancy, you've shared some really powerful rituals too in previous discussions. We have rituals for everything. Like I know Teresa and I do something similar. Whenever you get on a plane, bless the plane, the pilot, the crew, every single person, passenger on that, to have a really smooth flight. I do it in the car. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's that intention and that connection. And so for today, I've given some examples of what I do on most days. I mean, I'm human too. There's some days I just wake up grumpy and just want to stay in bed all day. And that's okay. I allow that. Sometimes I just need to go face down in lasagna and watch Netflix. That's okay. But coming back to that bounce back, that resilience, for me, that's what it's all about, and as an athlete, it's like, of course you're going to have a bad game. You're going to have a bad play. You're going to have something that doesn't work for the entire team. Get back up and practice, and just go back to those practices, whether it's in sports or art or life. It's all very, very, very much the same, of getting into that flow and that consistency, which I also love. I love the overlap of all these fun things. And so I know we're getting close to time, Teresa. And so if I think this is probably a good time to start wrapping up if you agree.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And I really would love for you to share what you've got going on and how you can support people in expanding their resilience and really diving deeper into rituals. I think there's an amazing opportunity
it's fun.
there.
And I think yes, thank you. And as you mentioned at the top of the call, it's like, this is just the tippy tip of the iceberg. It's such a rich subject. So yes, so the next thing that Azan and I will be doing is we created this Resilience Through Ritual series starting October 28th. For 4 75-minute sessions from 11 a.m. Eastern to 12:15. And this is just expanding on everything that we were talking about today, to be able to explore and integrate and play with a like-hearted community. And with the investment in the series, we're offering it for $145. But we also wanted to share our embodied breathing beads to help you with this practice. So that's included in the investment. And because you're here or you're listening, we also included a code that is called Soul, Soul, for an additional $20 off for just being a part of this community. And as Teresa and I were talking about earlier, it's like, this is just the beginning. And if you've been a part of my circles and Teresa's circles for these last few years, you know that we're all about expanding these circles and highlighting everyone's gifts and wisdom and talents. And so I also feel like this is an opportunity for everyone to come into this space as well. That's TBD, and we put it into the universe. And we get to have Teresa and Jennifer's on this call as well, and Laurie on this call. We'll all be seeing each other soon. Obviously, Azana's downstairs, so I see her in a few minutes. But that's just to say that I think this is really the foundation of something where we can all really collaborate together and co-create together and, build from here. So this is our offering to start that, and from which to build this foundation of collaboration and just community to expand it into something else. And I get so excited about it because it's so much more fun to play with everyone.
I agree. And here I know that at least one or two of you is sitting there going, yeah, but I don't have anything to offer. Well, I beg to differ.
I agree.
Each and every one of you has a zone of brilliance that you
Absolutely.
can bring to share. And as Lou and Mary Beth demonstrated so beautifully, starting with being vulnerable and sharing of yourself, that is the most profound influence you can have on a community. By being vulnerable and sharing where you're at, what you're going through, you co-create opportunities for expansion and growth. And that contributes to what your brilliance is. Your experiences culminate in you. And there's a nugget in you that wants to be expressed. And so, absolutely, the more we can gather around the fire, the more love we can spread, the more community. It's exponential. And so I encourage you, the Healing Circle on Thursday, my Trust Circle on Tuesday. Reach out. I'll be sharing that information as well as the sign up for Amy's class. And come on, guys, breathing beads, $145 and $20 off. That's a no-brainer. Yeah. Coming together, being authentic, being vulnerable, sharing your heart, loving your community, supporting the success of your community, because it creates success for everybody.
And I love what you said, that everyone has their zone of brilliance. Absolutely. And I know several of us have been fomenting that. Planting those seeds. And I just love, Mary Beth, you do your crayon therapy. I love that you started offering that, and it is brilliant. I love it so much. And that is just one example of everyone sharing their gifts and up leveling. Yes, there it is. And so planting seeds through our presence. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. And so I'm very excited at the possibilities and the potential and everything that we're co-creating together. So thank you. And I just wanted to do a short little closing ritual, to cement and integrate all of this energy, this beautiful sharing and courage and community that we experienced in the circle today. And so I would just invite you to either close your eyes or rest your gaze again. And place your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath. Noticing the air and feeling the sensation. This beautiful gift. This life and this moment. This community and interconnection. This oneness, knowing that we are never alone. Breathing that in. And say this to yourself. In this moment, in every moment, I am enough. I am peace, and I am love. And taking another deep breath, breathing this in, allowing it to settle and assimilate into the deepest essence of our being. Thank you. And sending much love to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Yummy. And thank you, Teresa, for creating the Soul Channel. This is just a beautiful space to do everything that we talked about today. So thank you, and I honor you for everything that you are.
Thank you, Amy.
Mm.
All right, my friends, this has been an incredibly beautiful, magical hour. And thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone watching it on YouTube later or wherever you happen to find your link. And remember, the universe will bring you exactly what you need to hear, exactly what you need to know, and exactly what you need to have when you're ready to receive it. So open your arms, open your heart, and say yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
I
you
love
all.
you.
Mm.